I don't think real estate or the economy will probably ever be normal ever again because there's just been too much meddling around in things that probably should have never been meddled with. And in this video, that's what I'm talking about. I'm that Agent Kelly. I talk about Canadian real estate in my local market of Abbotsford and the Fraser Valley. And if you guys get any value or entertainment, please subscribe to this channel, like this video, and if you'd like to chat one-on-one, I got a link in my description that you can click on, goes right into my Calendly link, and you can book yourself so we can chat one-on-one. Trying out a new mic today, so I apologize if the audio quality is bad. See what happens. But so anyways, a saying that I came up with is the economy is like a guy who abuses steroids. For years, we were at real negative interest rates, and during that time it was like the guy was on steroids. Then the economy gets overheated, or he gets bloated, lethargic, he starts getting all these side effects because he's been on cycle for too long, and then he needs to come off cycle, which is then the government stopping stimulus and increasing interest rates. Then because the government has increased interest rates and stopped stimulus, the economy gets pretty bad pretty fast, which is basically the guy's hormones completely crashing because he's got no testosterone in his body because he's completely shut down his natural testosterone. So then what does the guy do? Well, naturally, he's gonna hop back on some synthetic testosterone, which is the government starting up stimulus again and lowering interest rates. And at a certain point in your life, if you've abused steroids so much, your natural testosterone production will never restart ever again. Then you go to the doctors and you get prescribed synthetic testosterone, or you just keep going back on steroid cycles for the rest of your life, or possibly never even come off of them. And the way your body, i.e. the economy, is supposed to operate is then changed forever. And this is basically where we are at in the economy right now. After 2008, when the US government chose to bail out all the banks, print a bunch of money, inject a bunch of money into the economy, lower interest rates, that was basically one massive testosterone, DECA, Tren, D-ball, Anavar, Masteron cycle that changed the way the economy is supposed to operate forever. Because now our economy's natural testosterone production is shut down, meaning we need synthetic testosterone to operate at normal levels so we can live our lives. So why am I even talking about this? And what a stupid analogy for the economy, but if you understand it, you know it makes sense. So right now, we're basically coming off of one hell of a cycle. The off cycle is gonna be so bad that, we've got no testosterone in our bodies right now. We're growing boobs. We have whatever, what do they call that? Gyno. Our body's filled with estrogen right now because the cycle we just went through was crazy. But you know what's gonna happen? It's probably gonna suck so bad that we're just gonna hop back on some synthetic test pretty soon here. The government is likely going to over-tighten interest rates, which is, a bad off cycle, to the point where, everything gets pretty bad, and then they're gonna drop interest rates and start printing money again, is what I think is gonna happen. They're probably gonna overdo it on the tightening, and then they're gonna overdo it on the loosening. Way back in the day, our economy used to operate organically. There was even a time when the US dollar and the Canadian dollar was tied to a fixed asset, which was gold, right? So you couldn't even stimulate the economy in a synthetic way because each paper dollar had to be tied to an amount of gold. They removed that standard. That allows them to basically synthetically play around with the demand in the market by, putting an influx of capital into the market and doing all those kinds of things. Back in the day, corrections would happen naturally just by way of supply and demand, market sentiment, fear and greed. But now all of those things are exaggerated so much because we synthetically play with the demand in the economy, right? And the reason why I say this is because we're probably never not going to be in a somewhat volatile economy ever again. Now it's like we go up very fast, we come down very fast, we go up very fast, we come down very fast. I personally think that that is going to be the trend going forward, basically until the economy implodes, which who knows when that is. That could be 5 years, that could be 50 years. 98% of fiat currencies have all gone bust by way of inflation or economic collapse, and the only reason why that's not 100% is because you still have, you know, pounds sterling and all those old fiat currencies are still around, but my guess is that 100% will go bust just by the way that they are, right? It's just a matter of when, and I don't mean for this to be a negative video, because basically you're screwed either way, right? If you don't own assets, you could be screwed, because if they just print money and then lower interest rates and assets skyrocket, you're going to be in a pretty bad position. And if you do own assets, well, then the economy could tank. But if you don't own assets, you're screwed either way, because you can't really get ahead. And then if the market chooses to take off again, you're screwed, right? So it's my opinion that I'd rather own assets and take a chance at not being screwed. And who knows when eventually our dollar will implode. It'll probably be, I have no idea. Like I said, could be 5 years, 20 years, who knows. But I just wanted to come on here, talk about my way of thinking. That's my analogy, is that the economy is basically a guy on steroids. So I expect there to be a massive cutting testosterone DECA infused cycle coming up in the next year or two here. I'm that Agent Kelly. I'm making moves to move you. Peace.